What's up, Stripe Nation? Blake Albertson here with B&B Lawn Care. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Natalie Albertson. Is that weird that I say the last name too?
Yeah.
Today's our 2-year wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Natalie.
Thanks, you too.
Got you some roses today.
Thank you.
Did you like them?
Yeah, so
So this
they
is
were really hard to pick apart though.
yeah, because they're thorny.
Yeah.
So this video, I felt obligated to make it. Like I really wish there was videos out like this maybe a couple years ago when we were still dating or whatever. I know sometimes when you're dating, there's like steps in a relationship where this might be weird to watch with your girlfriend that you've been dating a few months or whatever, or even a year. But I think it's really important that you guys start to get on the same page if it looks like it's moving to something more seriously. And as we go through here, you'll see that things happen very quickly, you know, when kids start coming and things like that. So it's really good to get prepared and be on the same page about certain things before that. So this is going to probably be a pretty lengthy little video here, 20-30 minutes, which is different for this channel, and there's going to be no real fun things like equipment to watch, but I think this is really important for you to maybe watch with your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, or maybe even if you're single looking for a relationship. I would say the divorce rate of small business owners is probably way higher than the divorce rate of somebody working like a corporate job. Would you say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could have looked up the statistics, but I almost guarantee it. Natalie, I think you're not in the frame, my friend. A little bit. Just scoot over just a tad. We're in these big chairs. But, so sit back, relax, maybe listen to this while you're working. Maybe share this with your wife or your spouse or even your girlfriend, because it's really good to get on the same page. And somebody actually asked me this, you know, about they were wanting to get into a relationship or find, how do you find the right woman or the right man? Well, I say this, women love a man with a plan, a man on a mission, a man that would be able to, that they can see that will take care of their family one day. I'd say that's the most important thing. And you have to be able to draw the fine line of family and work, you know. And I think we're going to touch on that a little bit. So let's go a little bit back, Natalie, for people maybe that don't know us or our relationship, because this channel, I try to keep it super lawn care related. So I want to take a break like this, especially literally on our anniversary here today, and talk about, because we've jumped through a ton of hurdles and a ton of problems, and Natalie and I are complete opposites in a lot of things, which works out perfect for relationships. So when problems do arise, we don't really even talk about it publicly a lot. We just kind of fix it, get it done, and move on, and we don't talk about it again. So today maybe we'll talk about a couple of those. Natalie, let's talk about our relationship a little bit. How long have we been together? She's got a way better memory than me. I don't know. 5 years?
This will be our 5-year, yeah. I was 19 when we met. And yeah, it's 5 years. Since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So, we met at a concert.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is what we always say, that like it was meant to be, because like I lived in Blue Springs and he lived
She lives 40
in
minutes
Liberty.
away. She lived 40 minutes.
Well, hang on. We lived 40 minutes away from each other, and then the concert was 40 minutes away from both of us. And we just happened to, his friend, did your friend have a headache or did my friend have a headache?
I think my friend had a headache.
His friend had a headache. My friend's friend was dating his friend, and he texted her and asked for Advil. Mm-hmm. And so we all kind of like joined in like a group. And
Natalie fell in love at first sight, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually like, so we like had our night together, like danced and all that, and then the next day I blocked you.
Mm-hmm. And
we didn't talk for a month, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then a month later, my friend was, because you started kind of like talking to my friend,
mm-hmm.
and then a month later was like,
hey, you gotta play the game, baby. You know?
She was like, you just need to give him a chance. He's a great guy. And I finally was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I Snapchatted you. Was that right?
No, I Snapchatted you.
Me.
This was back in the boat days,
So, like,
man.
I unblocked him off of everything. And then I think I liked your picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And then you snapped me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, funny little story about this is we went to Silver Dollar City. It's like 4 hours away. It's like an amusement park this weekend. And we're in the stroller security line, and everybody, you know, is passing us, and they're checking diaper bags. And I told Natalie, I'm like, never in a million years, I've been to that place a million times, did I think I was going to be the person in the stroller security line. Like, men, or me at least, I would never went to that concert looking for a relationship. I never.
And I didn't
think I would ever be married.
Hang on.
Like, for a long time. Like, I thought I was going to be like 40 years old and get married and have kids. I swear to you.
But, like, I didn't go to the concert. Oh, wait, finish your story about the stroller, because it's funny.
It's pretty much it, but, like, then here we are just sitting in the stroller
he said,
line.
like, I would never expect to be in this line. Whatever.
But women look for this stuff, man.
But
that's why I tell you have to be prepared.
I didn't go to that concert either looking for a relationship. And I think that that's, like, a thing that people say is, like, when you're not looking for a relationship, like, it happens. Is that something? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you might not have been looking for a relationship, but like we were talking just about the security line, is women are thinking about babies and they're thinking about weddings and
like I always
Not
knew
me.
in my life that like I wanted to be married and have kids. Not kids. Well, kids. I wanted to have a kid by the time I was like 24 or 5.
There's her phone. She drops her phone
know,
all day
sorry.
long. The babies grab it and throw it. All right, let's speed it up a little bit. So it's funny. Like, that's why I always say, I tell guys, get your business together and figured out and making money.
Oh, and that's something that I didn't know either, sorry. When we met, I had no clue that he had a business.
Yeah.
Like, I had no clue what he did or anything. I think you told me you worked in lawn care.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm a very, I don't want to use the word humble, but I'm humble, but I don't talk about any of this stuff, like, in my real life.
Well,
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't really talk about my bit. Like, if I'm in passing with people or I'm just meeting somebody, all I say is I run a lawn care company. And that's it. I leave it at that because it's way too hard to explain.
But I didn't even know, like, I didn't know that until, like, it came up with my friend, and then I found out through her, and...
Oh, really?
Even really when we started talking again, like, I still didn't know the what's the word, like, the
You didn't know what I was doing?
yeah, like, the maturity of it, like, I didn't know it was such a mature
you didn't know I
business.
knew what I was doing, son.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm kidding. So yeah, so I really do think that our relationship slogan is everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything that's ever bad that's happened to us, we have found out one day that it's happened for a reason. That's kind of our life motto, basically. So I believe everything happened in my life because I focused on profitability really, really early in my business. I focused on investing in my business really, really early in my business. So I might seem young to some people. I'm not anymore, man. What am I, 25? I'm not going to be 25.
Be 25, yeah.
No, I'm not. Really?
Yeah. You're 24 right now. Yeah, old fart.
That's freaky. And anybody that's watched me on YouTube for a long time, that's freaky to you. It's got to be freaky to you because that freaks me out right now. But I still might seem young to some people, but dude, I was investing in my business and equipment when I was 16 and 17 years old. So, you know, I was set up and I had money like when we first met so I could take you on lots of dates. She took money to our first date, our second date or something.
Didn't know.
We went to this really expensive restaurant. She took money. I think that's when I won your heart over, right?
I would say so.
when I bought your food.
Mm-hmm. I had no clue that's how it worked.
So when we started getting serious, which I would say was pretty quickly in the relationship, like literally, like maybe like 6 months, like we kind of knew that, hey, maybe even shorter than that. Like we knew.
I mean, like I know, like I'm crazy, but I went home after the first date and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna marry that man.
You went home and said that?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah,
But,
I don't know if I went that far, but
we
I did
moved-
like you a lot.
We moved pretty fast though, like
We moved really fast, but I fell in love. Natalie fell in love. It was literally something out of a movie. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty instant.
Yeah, and when did we know like things were gonna move forward? Like, it was like 4 to 6 months. Like we were like talking as a
Well, actually,
couple.
I remember going, which makes me sound crazy, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I remember going to our 1-year anniversary
And you thought you were gonna
and
get
thinking
engaged.
you were gonna propose.
If that's like literally, well, that's crazy too. But that's what we do. Is like I know exactly what she's gonna say.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, but I know exactly what she's gonna say. I don't know. We're freaky, dude. Now we're whacking people out. They're gonna click off because they're like, well, "You guys are weird, dude."
I think that's like like if you're a girl and like you know you want to marry someone, then you're like waiting for the day. I don't know.
So we started moving quickly, and we started focusing on our talk was not hers and mine. It was ours.
I would say very early on, that's kind of what we did. It was our life, not my life and your life, which is kind of different for some couples. I know, like a lot of couples, even that we know, like is my life and her life, or his life and her, And I feel like that's something that was different about us. Is very early on, it was our life.
Yeah.
Even when we weren't talking about getting married, it was still like our decision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything was coming from us, not individually.
And so a good saying to take home is a relationship isn't 50 and 50. It's 100 and 100.
Yeah.
And so when you think of our relationship as us, it's 100 and 100. It's not like you do 50%, I'll do 50%. It doesn't make 100. And so I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. If you guys don't know that, you haven't been watching. But Dave Ramsey, the only thing I kind of don't, I agree to a certain extent and disagree with, is he's really big. He's old-fashioned about, you don't do anything as a couple until you're married, which makes sense because listen, even in our life, we know a lot of people that have been screwed over by women and screwed over by a man. And so I do get that. I guess maybe it just magically worked out for us, which is awesome.
But we did everything right. Like we we were engaged, bought a house, got married, had kids. Like we did everything. I don't mean to say right.
Yeah.
But
right.
In traditional Dave Ramsey, we did everything.
And we still did what he says technically because technically when we went and we did the whole house buying experience because we knew that we were living in it and we were going to raise a family in it.
Yeah.
I think a weird thing that a lot of couples do is
separate that process.
Is like technically I bought the house and I signed because we weren't married, so legally we can't, or we would have created a business partnership, and stuff just gets wacky when you do stuff like that. So the legality of actually being married when purchasing a house is a little bit different, but in Missouri, I think one state, or I don't know how many states, but in Missouri, the second you get married, unless there's a prenuptial agreement, which we don't really believe in that, everything's half and half anyway. So the second you sign, it's half and half. So I don't know what it is in every state. I think like California or something isn't like that or whatever. But even if even if you're not married and a woman lives in your house for like 7 years or something, in most states they treat it as a marriage. Is that false or is that real?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
But we always treated the relationship as us. It was never.
And even from the very beginning, like we spent every single day together, which
people think
people think it's weird because a lot of relationships, if you don't live together, you go on a date maybe once a week. But whereas we you would get done working at whatever time and come
freaking
directly to
rush
my house
over there.
and we'd spend 2 hours together, and then and I would do the same, and like, I feel like people like in my life thought that was weird that I was like giving all of my time to you, but like I knew from very early on that like you were my life.
But once again, we were like, even when people said stuff like that, we were treating it as us.
Yeah.
Not Natalie and Blake.
Yeah.
And I know that's weird, but literally, dude, I would work, run home, shower, and fly over to their house, like over to your house.
And
like,
for the first few weeks, you cleaned your truck every day.
I would go vacuum it out real quick, go shower, and freaking drive over there. I mean, I literally... Grant has a funny picture. He was working with me at the time of me texting while I was standing on the mower. I mean, we were like the dumb couple that you see on a TV show or a movie. That was us. Like, we were just, every second of the day, we just wanted to talk to each other, text each other, and it was awesome. And so our relationship moved quickly because
that's what I was gonna say.
We were just
I think that
us all the time.
Yeah, I think that's why we moved so quickly, because from very early on, it was like we were spending so much time together, and like I never got annoyed with you, like annoyed with being with you.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to be with you all the time.
Right.
Which, like, I think that was a very big indicator to me, like, okay.
What about now? Do you get annoyed with me?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we probably did 2 years of talking in 6 months. Like, I mean, we were just, I don't know, man. I mean, all the time.
Let's get into, like, some, like...
Let's get into some real stuff, because we're already 18 minutes, and we're just talking about our love. So, when we started moving more serious, and I would say let's start at the house, because it was all pretty magical, all the way up to the house. I mean,
it still is magical.
No, you know what I mean. Like, we didn't have any serious real life problems. It was like, I think you bought a car. You bought a car, and I actually had no part of that. It was like right at the time in our relationship where, like,
and you proposed in the beginning of March. That first day of March, you proposed.
Yeah, it was still at the part of our relationship where, like, we were just starting to really get into knowing finances and trying to figure out some sort of goals that we have in our life. And I didn't know I didn't know as much as I do now about the car thing. She didn't know as much as she knows now about the car thing. And we just kind of picked out the car, and we just kind of, it was probably we still chalk that up as the dumbest mistake we've made as a relationship. Because
I didn't put any money down on the
car,
and it was just a bad thing.
It was a bad...
So to get out of it when we did buy our new car...
When we bought that Yukon, we paid almost 10 grand, I think, just to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, just to get out of the negative equity. I'm like, nah, like, we can't ever do that again. We're never going to do that again.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So anyways, who cares? But...
So like, I would say, and like, even from... Okay, so like, we bought our house as an engaged couple. Like, at the time, we went to Disney World, we got engaged, we came home, we started looking at houses.
But even people then were like, like, they wanted it to be my house. Like, they wanted it to just be my house, and then Natalie move in. Like, I come from a really traditional family. Like,
and
they believe.
I did too.
I mean, we both do, but like
your grandma.
My grandma, rest in peace. She was all about that. Like, she couldn't believe that somebody would live together, not married. So like, it was like a big, like, it was a weird thing in our families.
It was a weird time, and I feel like a lot of the times it brought me down, because like, I felt like, I don't know what the word is. Like, I felt like nothing, I guess, in our relationship, because people were like, well, how are you a part of it? And I was like, well, it's our house. Like, and
people treat the fine lines too seriously, and we just didn't. Like, we just, it was us.
That was actually probably our first biggest thing of our relationship, was that night. Okay, so Blake and I were going to Disney World for an event. I had no clue that we were going to get engaged. Mm-hmm. it was a total surprise, honestly. And because like when you didn't
But
do
she
it,
wanted it to
I
happen.
wanted it, but like when you didn't do it over and over again, I was like, okay, it's not happening. And so that day before we left, we actually put an offer in on a house. Remember now?
Yeah.
We put an offer in on a house. We got it. Like our realtor was like, you guys got the house. Like we'll sign we signed papers. Well, you signed papers, and that was it. And then that night at like 11 o'clock, she texted us and
the day before we were leaving.
Yeah, we were leaving that next day. She texted us and she was like, sorry guys, the house is gone. And like we were devastated because we loved the house that we had picked. But looking back, I am so thankful. Like that's another thing, it was meant to be, because I mean, I'm so thankful that it didn't happen, because it was not, I don't even remember honestly the house, but it wasn't the house for us. So I would say that was like the first biggest like, wow, that sucks like part. But then we went to get engaged, and we came back and we got really serious about it.
Right.
Like looking for houses.
We bought a house in the craziest market. Like the market's still hot, but we bought it that spring.
We would pull up to a driveway and to go look at the house that was on the market, and our realtor would text us and be like, this is out, like, do you guys even want to go look at this anymore? It just got an offer.
Yeah.
And so like then we would leave. And so like this house actually that we bought,
10 grand over,
was, yeah, we had to offer 10, I think it was 15 even.
10 or 15,000 more than they were asking.
Asking just so we could get it. But we actually went to look at the house across the street and saw that this one was available, and one, it was out of our budget, and two, it had no pictures online, remember? So we didn't even want to look at it, and our realtor was like, oh, just come and look at it, like, let's see. And we walked in and fell in love. And so like from that point it was like, okay, we can either stick with the house across the street that's a little bit smaller and like not,
it was smaller, it was a lot smaller
and like not gonna fit us forever, or we can move up in our budget a little bit and get this house and grow into it. And that's what we chose to do.
Yeah.
And then that day,
thank God we did though. My gosh.
Well, that's the thing that sucks about houses though, is we had to make a decision like that second, which you are not good at. Blake likes to think about it for 4 months before he even goes on. And we had to offer like literally before we even left the house.
Right. Dude, I mean, it was a thing that like when we were walking through the house, we had to figure out everything, like make it happen and make an offer. And
so like that, we got the house, we moved in a month later or whatever. And I would say like from there, like even, I know probably a lot of people don't do this, but even from there we like put our bank accounts together.
Yeah. Like
we knew we were engaged.
We were working as a married couple because we knew that we wanted to get this house, and we knew that we were gonna live together. I mean, it was never.
And then like we both moved it. Like it was never like your house and not my house until we got married. No, it was always our house.
We slept on the flippin' kitchen counter, or not the kitchen counter.
The kitchen floor on a mattress.
The kitchen floor before we even got to bed. Yeah. Like everything was us. And so let's move forward and get some serious things, because I would say there was a few of the biggest problems we had. We lost houses all the time. One house we lost because they thought it was weird that we were putting so much money down. Yeah. It was weird.
They thought it was like fake or something.
I don't know what they thought. It was weird. But we lost it and it sucked, but everything works out for a reason. I would say the biggest thing to me, and I want to hear yours, was the insurance thing. And we talked about this last year. Natalie had worked a job for 2 years, really good health insurance. The month before our baby,
2 months.
Well, I know, but the month before we were in the hospital.
Yeah.
A month before Natalie went to the hospital, because we were in the hospital all of December. Natalie lost her job.
I got like a big, huge layoff.
Oh my gosh.
That was probably the most miserable time, because
it was the freakiest. I've never been so like, Natalie, what are we going to do?
Because I found out in the very last day of September that we were that they were doing a layoff. They basically said you can either go to this new company who's buying this company, but they're out of California, or you can take Cobra, I hate that word, and find
it's like COVID. Cobra and COVID are very similar to us.
So that day, I actually applied for a job within the company as a daycare teacher, just because I was like, okay, I can do this. I can still get the health insurance and all that.
And we can take our babies there one day.
And we can take, yeah, that was the plan. But, I mean, it took, a good 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Actually, we didn't know that I got the job. The last day of my old job was October, because I remembered it was Halloween. The last day was October 31st, and we didn't know I got the job until October 30th. Like, remember?
I don't remember, but...
Remember I started November 1st at that job? I started November 1st as a daycare teacher and worked until I got in the hospital on December 7th. I worked until December 6th.
I've never been so freaked out.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it was probably the most stressful thing.
And lots of opinions from everybody else. Like
everybody has a freaking opinion, and it's just, it's crazy. I mean, even down to people saying, I should get a freaking job for health insurance.
Yeah.
I'm like, you all are nutty.
I would say that's probably...
It was going to cost us $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem I would say that we have had.
And Natalie just bossed up as a pregnant woman with twins.
Yeah.
And just made it happen. I mean, just plain and simple.
I would say that was probably the hardest thing for us.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for me, which you made happen, was I always said I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, that was, we went into the relationship like that. And Blake always said, no, you can't. You have to have health insurance. And so, right up until March, I was going back to work.
Yeah.
And then we finally figured out a way to make it work.
And it's just impossible with these two kids.
It is.
The biggest problem for our mental stability in our relationship has been the NICU.
Yeah. Which we haven't done anything about it on this, but, I mean, it was that was the biggest I would say the insurance for, like, you, because you're
the insurance
and you
for,
had
like,
to figure out everything.
Well, the insurance for, like, actually gonna affect our family.
Yeah.
Like, financial stuff, you've heard it a million times, is, like, what, 70% of divorces, or whatever it is.
It wasn't ever a fight between us.
It was a fight between us versus the world.
Yeah, figuring out what the heck we were gonna do, because here we are a month before our babies are coming, and we didn't have, well, we had it, but we didn't know what to expect from the new job. And so we went a month wondering, it was either I was going to get the new job and we were going to continue on and be fine,
or we were going to pay Cobra,
or we were going to pay, yeah. So I would say that was the biggest like, between us and the world.
Yeah.
I would say.
The biggest hurdle we've had to overcome financially.
Yeah.
And I want to say this before you talk about the NICU. I want to emphasize this to people. If financial issues are going to be the number one cause, most likely, or infidelity, or whatever the word is, like cheating on the other person or whatever, is going to be the most reason for a divorce. Why don't we focus on taking that out of the equation? Like, if you work a job, figure out a way that you have a backup plan that you can immediately implement if you lose your job. For us, it's a savings account, an emergency fund, or whatever you want to call it.
I would say, yeah, like, we went in to even this house, before we had this house, we went into it with, we went into it like, okay, if this happens and you lose your job, we have a savings. If you get hurt and you can't work, we have a savings. And, like, we both contributed to that savings even before we lived together. I was a substitute teacher and babysat and all that, and I took money and put it into, like, our savings account. Like, we had that, I would say, right? I mean,
all right, let's cut this off. We're going to do a part 2 of this, because we need to talk about the NICU. Like, we had some
I would say the most fights of our relationship have come from the NICU.
Yeah.